Hello, everyone. Welcome back. And today it's another session of a day with your fertility nurses. We're going to be talking about how your nurses are going to support you through IVF, basically, what our role is in doing this. And I know this comes with a little twist, yes. And this is because this is International Nurses Week. So, yes, tell us Happy Nurses Week in the comments. We would really love to hear that. So, we're coming to you today with a different set of people. I'm your host, Joanna Damina, and this is happy to have you and
Grace Ude.
okay, so these are your nurses. Today we're going to be talking to you. It's more like a discussion, right? Usually, I have the questions thrown and then there's answers, but we're going to just have a discussion today about IVF, talking about the processes and the things that you may not know that your nurse is actually doing. So stick around with us. We really do appreciate it every time you join us. The engagement is really very much encouraged. Your likes, your comments, your shares. You can share this with someone else that didn't even know that the nurses would be on set today, so you can give them a little surprise, have beautiful faces on here today. So guys, let's just start with something simple. When we hear IVF, the first thing that comes to mind is something very complex and very, like, it's a lot going on when somebody hears IVF. So Lovely, could you just help us set a little bit of a foundation? What kind of steps are involved in IVF?
Okay, so for the process of IVF, steps involved, first of all, is the down regulation. During this period, some certain injections are given to quieten the ovaries so that now the IVF team are able to have a control over the whole process. Now, after the down regulation has been achieved, ovarian stimulation is being done.
Okay.
That is some medication, we call them the HMGs, are given to help the follicles grow so that we are able to get mature eggs. Now, after we are done with that, we do a trigger shot to help with maturation of these eggs with grooms with the aim of achieving pregnancy. Then the egg collection is done in the IVF theater. After egg collection, fertilization is done by the embryologist. And the embryos, after being fertilized, they are being checked for certain days, at least 5 days. Then an embryo transfer is set where the embryos are being transferred into the womb or into the uterus of the woman, after which the pregnancy test comes up and then the aftermath of counseling is being done.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, it does sound a lot less complicated when you break it down into steps, and
Actually,
yeah, it's a lot less cumbersome, I think, when we go about it like that. But are there places that will say like a nurse is more involved? Is there any stage that will say, okay, the nurse is that's your
yes. In the treatment, the nurse is engaged all round
yeah.
from the beginning of the treatment because the nurse play an important role in the treatment of the clients during this IVF process. From the time of badging, the nurse handles the badge, she makes the calls, communicates the clients, she prepares them both physically, emotionally, and psychologically.
Exactly, yeah.
Because there are lots of clients that come in for IVF, they might not be emotionally ready for the process. So the nurse help prepare them emotionally and psychologically. She communicates them in every step
Yeah.
that it's been them every in the nurse commitment because you can't come in for treatment and don't know what next or what injection you're taking.
Yeah.
So your nurse will communicate to you after you're being planned.
I know, especially with all those calls and all those things. One of the things that we're always ready to make. But yes, we're here, and every step that you're going to take is being told to you in advance, even before you
Mm.
start the process of even that regulation. You tell you, okay, you're about to start this injection, you're
Yeah.
going to stop this, you're going to do this is going to go on for this amount of days, and all
Yeah.
those things. Yeah, so I feel like it's very important. Like every step actually has the nurses involved in it, because we're
Actually,
like the, should I say,
the
the,
heart of the
exactly, the
care.
heart of the care, the focal point. We're the
Yeah.
ones that are talking directly to the clients. And
Yeah.
sometimes I think when we work with other people on the team, a lot of information gets relayed to us, and then we relay it to the
Back to
clients.
the client
Yeah, we have
and
to make it very simple for them to understand. Sometimes, like, especially when you're talking about checking the embryos, you're saying like, okay, well, there's something that we're looking for
yeah.
in for the embryos, talking about the stages of development. And sometimes during embryo transfer,
The
the
gradings are being
exactly
told. So
are
if
being
they are
told to
not
them, and they
checked,
don't know
yeah, they are not
exactly.
able to understand that.
I think it's very important that like your clients actually know that you're there through every step. I know there are some more practical ways and some more emotional ways. Have you experienced having to be more practical? Let's say, like, with giving injections. I know sometimes they don't always have to give their injections, get their injections here at the hospital.
Yeah.
It can be given at home and things like that. But have you gone through that? Any one of you guys, like, check it to the clients. This is how you do it. Instruct them on certain ways to give injections, how to take medications at home, and things like that.
Well, for that practical aspect,
Mm-hmm.
everything is something we do every day
Yeah.
because literally at every time of the day, clients come in for either stimulation, down regulation, or one thing or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So for clients who want to go home and take their injection, especially during the down regulation, since we know the buserelin is given subcutaneously, and even for it's not something so difficult for a client to do. All you need to do is just teach the client. Some of them will prefer to do it on their tummy, while some will prefer to do it on their side because they are able to look at that point and give the
Yeah.
injection.
Yeah.
So all you need to do is just teach them how to position their syringes and their needle. For subcutaneous injection, usually we give it at angle 45 because we want it to get a bit deep down, not the usual subcute we do. So teaching them how to do it one time, we teach them the second time they're able to give it themselves.
Themselves.
And once that is done perfectly, they're able to go home and continue their injection. They have to have the knowledge on what injection they are taking. Some of them, okay, because they have the privilege of injecting themselves with the buserelin. Once it's time for stimulation, they'll say, "Nurse, can I go home and do the HMGs
So it's
myself?"
different.
Of course, it's a different thing altogether. We
Yeah.
have to let them know that
Mm-hmm.
the HMGs, the route of administration is not as same as that of the buserelin,
Yeah.
and that has to be done by a health worker, by a nurse, because we don't want a situation where the clients will go and inject the wrong place and come down with
Exactly.
some kind of effect or something.
Mm-hmm. So, but and if you've worked with Nurse Grace, you know that she has this EQ, this emotional quotient, this intelligence about how to deal with people. So I'm going to ask you, right? You know, is there a moment you felt like um clients are a bit more emotional when it comes to the IVF journey, and how we can actually help them?
Yes, I would say IVF clients are generally emotional
Emotional.
clients
Yeah.
because for anybody to come for the IVF procedure,
Mm-hmm.
they would have been diagnosed with infertility, and a good number of them would have been trying for years
Yeah.
and things like that. So you find out that they've most times they're exhausted financially, they're exhausted emotionally, they're
Mm-hmm.
exhausted psychologically, they're exhausted spiritually.
Every
So it's
which
like
way.
so it's like when they come to you, a good number of them have been battered and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So dealing with emotional clients, I would say as healthcare professionals, we are trained for this kind of things. It's important that we communicate with and to them as
Yeah.
much as possible. We
Yeah.
inform them about every stage of the procedure, what it entails, what they would have to go through, the percentage success rates we have, the losses we have, and things like that. So it's like when they are going in for the procedure, they are fully informed.
Mm-hmm.
And at every step, we still give them we counsel and educate them so that even when they are supposed to make decisions for themselves, they're making informed choices
Exactly,
and things
yes.
like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I've always say this. I don't know. I don't always say, but I say it a lot. That a lot of times our live sessions are aimed at actually helping our clients and potential clients and whoever it is that is watching to make more informed
Informed
decisions.
choices. Yeah.
Because when you actually make informed decisions, you're emotionally more at rest, right? You're not thinking, you're not anxious about, oh my god, I don't even know how this is going to turn out. This is going to come out this way. This is going to do this, and you're completely more comfortable with the choices that you're making. I know regardless, they can still feel overwhelmed, you still feel unheard of, no matter how much you try to communicate. It's a two-way thing, right? So sometimes communication can be stuck midway or halfway and things like that. But how can we just help to like build a better relationship? Are there things that you feel like clients are scared to ask that they shouldn't be scared to ask of, or things that anything that basically could help with the whole communication process?
So in building better relationships with clients, I would say first it's important to even know the client,
Yeah.
know the personality of the client. We are different kinds of people and we handle
Exactly.
information differently. Our educational backgrounds are different, our cultures are different,
Yeah.
our standings in society, they are all
Difference.
different,
Yeah.
they all differ and things like that. So it's important to know the client you are dealing with. It will help you provide the right solutions for the client. Take, for instance, somebody who is of a Catholic background who believes, or I'm sorry to say Catholic, but or somebody who doesn't believe they can use somebody else's eggs. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's what they believe in Catholic, but I just brought it up and things
I
like that.
mean, it's a lot.
But
Yeah, a number of people.
yeah,
If you
so
see somebody can even be of a religion, the same
yes,
with another
yes,
person,
yeah,
and then one person within that same religion will say,
yeah,
okay,
say
they are
something
fine
else,
with
yeah,
using donor gametes, but another
exactly.
person wouldn't be. Yeah.
So I think it's important to know the preferences of these patients and all of that. When you know them, when you know these things, it's easier for you to deal with them. It's like you're attending to them in their own currency, in their own
Yeah.
language,
Yeah.
coming down to the level that they understand. Then in building relationships, as nurses, it's also important to know that we are not lords of the patient. We are here to provide services and render help
Yeah.
to the patient. So if
Yeah.
you see yourself as a servant, it's easier to, how do I say, render care to these patients even when they're emotionally down and they are trying to shout at you and things like that. You find
Yeah.
out that you have a better understanding of why they are getting emotional and all of that. What was the second question? Sorry.
Well, just asking, like what you think would make your clients more comfortable. Are there questions that you feel like they
Okay,
don't
yeah, that's
ask,
the question.
yeah, or
So
they're scared
about
to ask?
questions, I don't think a client should ever be afraid of asking questions.
Yeah.
Like I said, like we said earlier, we are here to serve the client. We are here to render services to the client. So we're basically here for you. Ask us any kind of question, whatever
Yeah.
crosses your mind, whatever you think of, whatever fears you may have, and all of that. And a good number of our clients go online, check informations about
Word.
failure rates, success rates, and there are so
Exactly.
many informations on the internet. And sometimes when they ask some questions, you're like, this question too. But we're here to provide solutions and to answer your questions. So you should
Yeah.
never be afraid to ask any kind of
Any kind
question.
of questions,
Yeah.
truly, because like we said, informed decisions are the best decisions that you can make
Make.
because you know the knowledge behind the decision that you're about to make. And yeah, that's what we're here for, just to make you a lot more comfortable. IVF is already a very, very overwhelming process. You're already going through so much to even come
Yeah.
to start going through IVF. So, like our role is just basically to help you up, to support you, to be that being that when you feel a bit shaky, you can rely on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned something that I think is very important, actually, dealing with success and losses. IVF is not 100% yes.
True.
Sometimes you have losses, and a lot of times you have success. But when it comes to losses, I know this can be a little bit of a tricky
Dicey.
situation. Yeah, but how do we help our clients just go through that phase?
Well, for us to help our clients go through that, it all bounce back to preparation because once you counsel and have communicate the possible outcome to your client,
Yeah.
it make them psychologically prepared that through this journey I might succeed, I might not succeed. Actually, our prayer is that every couple succeed. But however, it's not always 100% that everybody will succeed. So once you prepare them psychologically, it helps them at least it lessen their burdens of the results when they fail. And again, even after failure, you can still try again. You can always try again because there are people who have tried the first time, second time, failed, third time, or after second trial, succeed. So you can always try again, and it gives them a better chance for success.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, I'd also love to say that when we are faced with losses, it's not an easy sight. Especially,
Actually,
earlier we said that a lot of couples that come around would have tried for a couple of years and things
Yeah.
like that. And a lot of anxiety goes into the IVF journey. It's like, okay, I finally arrived at the bus stop. I've gotten a solution, and then you now find out that the
That
solution you thought you had did not
Yeah.
work out, and things like that. So it's a really emotionally traumatizing event or process for our clients and our patients. But one thing I would say is, as nurses, we are trained to be there for our patients. It's important that we let them know that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay
Yeah.
to feel sad. It's okay
Exactly.
to cry. It's okay to, how do I say it? It's okay to mourn, but do your mourning the right way. You shouldn't get depressed about it and things like that. And like my colleague earlier said, after you have absorbed the situation, after you are done dealing with the situation, we try again, we move on
Yeah.
and things like that.
I mean, that's something that is very much practiced, especially here at our hospital. Even when our clients may face losses, we actually still try to keep in touch with them.
Yeah.
Still call you, how you feeling, how is your support system? Is there anything else you might need, are you feeling up to trying again? Is this something
Yeah.
that you're considering, or is this is just out of your mind? Sometimes they'll say no
No.
completely. They just need time to just be away from the whole situation, and like you said, absorb that, allow them to grieve, because it's actually a grieving process. You think
Yeah,
that
it is.
yes, once you've done this, you have your garments ready, you've gotten embryos, like definitely you're going to get pregnant, but then you don't, and it just feels like it's so crushing. I can't even imagine. You can never really grasp the full scope of how a woman would feel in
Feel
that process, or how a couple feels in that condition, unless you are in there.
you've
But
been there.
like I said, we face these clients a lot. We work with them hand in hand, and I feel like something that we may not talk about is when during the process. IVF is not a one day thing. It takes a long time, let me say a couple weeks at the very least. And then as a nurse, you're constantly in contact with these people, and you might actually form a bond
Bond.
with some of these people, and then you're really hoping against all hopes, or even when everything is right and then there's a loss, it also affects us.
Yeah, it does. It
Yeah,
does.
because you're just like, wow, like this person that these people that you've worked with, and then sometimes they might be so good, everything looks so fine, and then it doesn't result in success, and it's very debilitating. But we always go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
Yes, what went wrong, what could be better? And this is just another small way in which we support you. We actually do like to form these bonds with you, so that we're a bit more personal. I feel like when you're a little bit more personal, you have more of an emotional
Yeah.
part of yourself to
You're more
share with them.
empathic to the patient.
Exactly, you're more empathetic to them. So yeah, like we said, it's not just a physical thing, it's emotional and all of that. But is there any advice I would say that you can give to a client when you see them going through an emotional process? For me, for instance, I've spoken to there was a particular client that really got close to me. She would always want to discuss with me, and even with all my people, colleagues, she would always want to discuss with me and talk to me. Even got my personal number and things like that. And unfortunately, it didn't succeed. IVF didn't succeed, but the advice I had to give to her was more of information. Yes, like this is what can happen. It's not your fault. It is this, it is that, and it just helps them to be more receptive towards. Like you said, preparation is
Yeah.
very important. But is there anything else you feel like also gives your clients a better headspace when they're dealing with IVF?
Well, for clients dealing with IVF, I feel as much as the clients have the right to make decision, um, the decisions that this client is making should be informed
Mm-hmm.
in a way that the clients have all the necessary information,
Yeah.
the advantages
Mm-hmm.
of her decision,
Mm-hmm.
the disadvantages of her decision, so that these couples are able to understand what we are going into.
Mm-hmm.
And once they don't understand, ask questions.
Yeah.
Don't just walk blindly.
Very important.
Because at the end of the day, if not a prayer, they fail, they will begin to bring up, I don't know this or I don't know
Mm.
that. So where informations are given and you are not understanding, always ask
Ask
questions
questions. Yeah.
so that you know in detail what you're going in for. I think that will help a
A
lot.
lot. Yeah.
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 So I'd also want to say that in dealing with these losses, like we said earlier, trying to comfort and be there for these clients, it's important that I said earlier that we need to understand the personalities of our
Mm-hmm.
patients.
Yeah.
We can refer some of them to psychologists.
Mm-hmm.
We can refer some of them to their pastors. We can refer some of them to their imams. And it's also important that we communicate with them. We let them know, like as Loveling said earlier, as long as there's life, there's hope,
There's
and
hope.
we can always
Yes.
try again.
Yes.
You understand? This it's the fact that one IVF failed doesn't mean it's the end of the world or it's
Mm-hmm.
the end for you.
Yeah.
There's hope. We can always try again, and
you
things like
know
that.
that's basically it. I like the emphasis on hope. IVF itself is already a journey of hope, right? You're already coming into this thinking of all the smiles that you could get in the end. And as we've said, it's not 100%. Of course, we want every trial of yours to succeed, but if it doesn't mean that it's the end of it. Yeah. So, I think we've covered a lot on how we can support our clients
Clients.
through IVF. Like we mentioned, just a little recap, every single step you take, the nurse is there. Yes, we communicate to you what you should do, the instructions that you might need prior to, like, for example, when you're going into the IVF theater, we have instructions that we give here. Maybe no perfumes, no makeup, things like that. This small details, that's what we're here for. You might think we're disturbing you, but it's very important. Every once in a while you get a call, yes, you're coming in for your scans, you're coming in to get your injections, you're going to do this, you're going to start this medication, giving you room to actually be able to question these things. When you tell your clients in advance, like, okay, you're about to start this, they'll say, why, what
Why
is
we
this
get
for?
this?
What am I going to get out of this? Am I going to get any side effects? What's going to happen? So things like that. This is the little ways that we actually support you, just letting you be very aware of how the process goes. So we have a little myth slash fact situation. I just have three here, and if it offends you, that concern you. But the first one says nurses are only there to assist doctors. Guys, myth
So
or
let me
fact?
go firstly. I'd also want to explain in it, and
Yeah.
I think anybody who says that is limited by ignorance.
Mm.
I'd say that's a statement that comes from a place of limitation.
Yeah.
Because if I would share this example, I would say it's imagine the brain saying to the body that the heart is here just to assist me,
Mm-hmm.
and the heart gets angry and decides to shut down. We know that the brain is going to be going haywire very
Exactly.
soon, and
Yeah.
things like that. As healthcare workers, we work as a team.
Mm-hmm.
Every team member is very, very important and plays
Yeah.
a paramount role. No team member is an assisting or a supporting.
Person.
I don't know if you
Exactly.
understand.
Yeah.
So the fact that society has, I think this is a myth that has been going on for a long,
Very
long
long
time, for
time.
as long
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know even when you talk about IVF, like sometimes people think it's just doctors that are involved in IVF, like and then you come and you might be very surprised. There's nurses, there's the embryologists, there's the pharmacy. Everybody is involved in your IVF treatment. Yeah.
So I was saying it's a limitation that comes with lack of knowledge, and that is why we are actually on this show to educate you on the roles that nurses play. Nurses play a huge role in the health sector, and nurses have come a long way all of these years. Nurses are always with you from the beginning. Nurse Lovely spoke about the IVF circle and things like that, and you asked her which of the roles has the nurses most involved in, and I think she listed a few. And if you think about it, if you look at it,
is
it's
actually
always
all
all
round.
round
The nurse
and
is always there from the
from
beginning
the
to the
beginning to
end
the end.
because she handles the batch. So a lot of information about what is going on through the process.
Yeah.
So the nurse is always there.
I mean,
So I have had a situation where a client came in for IVF and wanted to communicate with the doctor. I think she wanted to give the doctor a piece of information and I was there. And she was not comfortable with me being there. She asked if I should excuse her. So I actually excused her. But funny enough, at the end of the day, I was the one that handled the batch.
the information
So I was
to you.
so actually the nurse is very key in the planning IVF. So when you see a nurse, don't feel uncomfortable because at the end of the day, you'll be working hand in hand with the nurse. She will call you to schedule appointment. She will call you to give you information and all of that. So she's I don't know. I want to say she's even more closely involved to you than any other person will be.
True, especially with IVF and especially working here, it's not that other people are not quite involved, but when you talk about IVF, most of the time the nurse carries a lot of the responsibility of communicating with the clients and just having that one-on-one with the client. Sometimes, yes, definitely the doctors, most of the time it starts off with the doctors, the consultations, and then the planning. From planning, just know that you're going to be talking with us, and definitely the doctors are here for other processes, but most of the communication that you're going to have is going to come from your nurses. And sometimes, yes, no matter what you do, no matter how much you try, no matter how informative you are to your clients, they will still prefer to discuss with the doctor. But we're just here to tell you that one is not a it's a myth that one person is more important than the other. Nurses are professionals on their own. Nursing is its own profession, and medicine and doctors are professionals on their own. That's another profession itself. So everybody that handles your treatment in a healthcare sector has gone through certain things and qualifications to be where they are. So of course, everybody's assisting everybody. Let me just say, everybody's assisting everybody.
Actually, you have a point.
So number 2 says you should only contact your nurse if something is wrong. Myth or fact?
It's a myth.
Yeah,
I agree. To me,
it's a myth. So how do we, let me say, expatiate on that a little bit more? Let's let them know that, you know yes, this is a myth, but this is why.
Okay, you don't have to contact your nurse only when something goes wrong. Even when things are right, the nurse should be your friend. You should be in communication with her because there are times maybe you didn't get the certain information and your nurse will give you detail on what the information is saying. So for you to get things right, I will say you need your nurse to be close to you. Yes. So because where you don't get things right, where you're not clear, she's able to give you this information in simple terms that you understand, not until things goes wrong before you will now start calling. I didn't get to know this. I would have done it that way.
It's timing is very important. Yes. So if you don't understand something at a point that information is passed across to you, please, you don't have to wait until you've gone so far and you're not doing the right thing and then something goes wrong and you're now trying to ask questions after that. You can ask questions at any point in time. Yes. If you get something and you're not quite clear, you're not very confident in carrying out this process, or I mean, like, let's say for instance you're asked to start taking certain medications, and we have clients all over the globe, all over over the country, and sometimes they have their medications sent over to them, and the nurse tells you, start this one, start this one, start this one, and you have like five, and they're only telling you to start like two or three, and you're not sure. Please, you can take pictures of them, call your nurse, tell them this is what I'm seeing. Exactly. Take the picture one after the other and send it to
Points
us.
which you're taking, which you're not
Mm-hmm.
taking, and all of that. And for those who have undergone the IVF treatment, you will note that we have a timeline that we usually give our clients at the beginning of each batch to guide them so that they are able to plan towards their treatment. We'll give them a timeline to when we are possibly needing them for scans, timeline to when it's possible for their embryo for oocyte retrieval, timeline for embryo transfer, and all of that. That gives them information to how they should be able to schedule for their treatment. And even when they come into the facility for our consent form, it has a lot of information. And the nurse is always there to guide you. After embryo transfer, there's a lot of information. So I would just say this IVF process, we do a lot of talking. So don't wait until things get wrong before you start communicating with your nurse.
Yeah. Okay, well, last one. We've spoken about this one, but I still want to reiterate on it because it's a very important part of IVF. It says emotional support is not part of a nurse's role, myth or fact. Of course, it's a myth. I just want to say, I feel like it may have come up because a lot of times, they'll tell you don't get too close, don't be sympathetic, be empathetic, things like that. And of course, it's very difficult if you don't have certain boundaries yourself as a nurse to patient relationship. But it doesn't mean that you can't express emotions, you can't be emotionally supportive to your patients when they come in. So, yes, I also believe that that is a myth. It's a total myth.
Not to an extent in ours, our nurses are so supportive to our clients. We are always available to answer their questions, to support them. I've gotten calls at 3 a.m. and all of that to ask, yes, to ask questions, and we always avail ourselves to give response to our clients. And those response have a way of making them feel light because you've answered their question, at least their anxiety have been allayed.
Imagine somebody thinking of a question by 3 o'clock in the morning. That person has to be very anxious. They have to have a lot on
Actually,
their
it's a
mind.
pointer to something.
Yes, that means there's something going on. You haven't been able to sleep, or you to be up by 3 a.m. and thinking of a question to ask exactly. So,
All of
your
that.
nurses are there to just basically alleviate all these
Anxiety.
struggles and anxieties that you may go through. So just to wrap up a little bit, is there anything, or if there is there something that you think every IVF patient should remember about their nurses?
For every client going through IVF, one thing you should remember and know is that your nurse is here to guide you through the process. Your nurse is here to give you information about every bit of the process. Once the nurse is giving you injection, madam coming for injection, and maybe she's overwhelmed and had not remembered to tell you, okay, this is the regulation or this is buserelin I'm giving. Always ask, nurse, please, what are you giving me? And the nurse will always answer you. So your nurse is always there to guide you through the process. She's always there to support you psychologically, emotionally, and to allay your anxieties through the process.
Okay. So I'd love to say that in addition to what my colleague just said, that your nurses are always here for you, like she said, and your nurses are trained and certified people. They are here to advocate for you, even when you are emotionally down, when you feel unheard, when you feel unseen. We're here to advocate for you. We're here to guide you towards making informed choices. So when we give you certain advices, it's not because it favors us as a facility or as individuals. No, we're doing what is best for you. And even if you don't trust us, trust our certificates and our licenses. Like I said, we are trained for this.
Yeah.
So I want to say that patients, clients, people, the general public should learn to trust nurses. Nurses are doing a great job,
I agree.
and it's important that you know that nurses are good people who wants the best for you. You know, there's this thing that
This
goes around
notion
that
that
nurses
nurses
are
are
wicked.
wicked.
There's this notion nurses are not wicked people. Nurses are good people. We care about you. We're here to advocate for you. We're here
Yeah.
to care for you. We're here to ensure that you make informed choices.
And I just want to let us know that in house we have angels in white.
Absolutely.
Angels in scrubs.
Angels in scrubs, every color. Don't worry, when it
Yeah.
comes out, you see every color, every shade,
We
every
really
style.
care about you so much.
So yeah, it's very you're a very important part of our journey as a facility in general, but also as people. You know, like this for me, especially coming into organ apps, I had the least idea about IVF. I knew the general thoughts. Yes, IVF is supposed to lead to pregnancy and all of that, but having this like one-to-one contact with IVF clients and patients, it really broadens your mind to a lot more than you can actually think. So as important as we are to you, you're also very
Very
important
important
to
to
us. Yeah,
There's no us without you.
Yeah, there's
exactly.
We
no
are
us
always
without you.
here for you. If you don't come, it means the act of caring in us will not be exhibited. So we need you so that we'll be able to show this act of care.
Okay, so that's very nice. So from everything, basically, your nurses are here to support you. You would do yourself a huge favor if you're able to trust your nurses, and
Yeah.
even if you don't, we're still going to render our services to you.
Regardless.
Because we still want what's best for you. Once you walk into the facility, we're thinking of your best interest. So thank you so much for joining us on set today, Nurse Loveling and Nurse Grace. I'm saying joining us because I've been here a little bit more often than they have, but this is a very special one. And if you're joining us today, then we really appreciate that. Before we leave, sometimes we get comments on Facebook, and I'm going to just read them. We had comments from Noella. She said, "Well done, apps nurses. You guys are doing fantastically well."
Thank you.
Thank you. And also a comment from Dixon on Facebook. He says, "Happy Nurses Week to all our amazing nurses in the IVF journey. Nurses are not just caregivers; they're emotional anchors, guides, and constant sources of hope. So, cheers, guys."
Thank you. Thank you for seeing us. We see you
We
too.
see you too. Thank you. So this brings us to the end of our live session today. I'm sure you guys haven't seen me laugh this much. It's so nice to be here with you guys.
Same here.
We're going to run it back on Friday. We're going to have another session with our nurses because, like I said, it is International Nurses Week, so we have more information to give you. Thank you for joining us. We hope that this helps you feel more comfortable in your treatment. You know what we are here for and how much you can depend on us. So, yes, see you on Friday. We go live every Wednesdays and Fridays by 3 p.m. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, sometimes on TikTok, anywhere. So, you can follow us, turn on your post notifications just in case you forget so your phone can remind you. Have a lovely day. Goodbye.
Bye.